Welcome to Mindful Confidence. In today's reflection, we turn to the transformative teachings of Buddhism, illuminating the importance of focusing on your own journey. Rooted in mindfulness and self-awareness, Buddhist wisdom reminds us that true growth begins within. By redirecting attention inward, we cultivate clarity, self-compassion, and purpose, untethered by the distractions of comparing ourselves to others. These teachings encourage us to embrace our unique path, foster resilience, and let go of judgments that cloud our vision. Together, let's explore how focusing on yourself, your growth, your mindfulness, and your peace can lead to a life of balance, authenticity, and boundless joy. Have you ever considered how even minor adjustments to your own personality could have a profound impact on your life, and possibly even the entire world? Imagine for a moment that the key to solving significant issues rests within ourselves, and that ancient teachings, such as those attributed to Buddha, may teach us how to be happy and get along better in the present day, rather than constantly looking for answers in the outer world. Suppose we were to look within ourselves and discover the true source of magic. We are going to delve into the ways in which ancient Buddhist knowledge can help us achieve higher levels of self-esteem and convey optimism to others around us today. We learn to be appreciative, kind, and present through the practice of Buddhism. It provides us with the resources necessary to persevere through challenging circumstances with a calm mind and a loving heart. On the other hand, there is more to it than that. It also instructs us on how to incorporate these old principles into our contemporary lives. We will discover how these age-old ideas, which include finding joy in the smallest of moments and remaining resilient in the face of adversity, are surprisingly applicable to the world we live in today. It is not simply about bettering oneself. Rather, it is about developing a knowledge of how our development might contribute to a world that is happier and more compassionate. In addition to bringing us closer to our authentic selves, each step that we take also helps to improve the ties that we have with other people. By passing on the knowledge that we have gained, we are able to establish a community of individuals who are working toward both individual and communal growth, with the ultimate goal of living a life that is more compassionate and mindful. If you are looking for ways to bring more happiness, meaning, and calm into your life, then you should stay with us until the very end. We have packed this voyage with stories that will warm your heart, advice that will help you apply it, and insights that will make you think. There is a possibility that the answers you have been looking for are concealed within the knowledge that we are about to reveal to you. This trip is not just about discovering oneself. It is also an opportunity for us to shed light on the world, even in the most difficult times that it may be experiencing. Together, we have the potential to actually make a difference if we concentrate on self-improvement in a manner that increases our capacity for empathy and concern for other people. In light of this, let us begin together on this journey of self-reflection and metamorphosis, and investigate the ways in which the timeless teachings of Buddha might benefit our lives in the present day. Let's jump right in. To have a proper understanding of karma, one must first acknowledge that every action, regardless of whether it is beneficial or harmful, has consequences. Keeping resentment in one's heart is just going to result in more negative karma. Through the act of forgiving others, individuals have the ability to stop the cycle of negative karma and establish the conditions necessary for greater pleasure and tranquility in their own life. It is essential to keep in mind that the Buddhist practice of forgiveness is not always simple, particularly in situations involving profound betrayal or pain. It is a process that calls for patience, kindness, and introspection on the part of the individual. It is possible that forgiveness does not occur all at once, but rather develops gradually over time, as individuals train themselves to have a higher capacity for understanding and compassion for both themselves and others. Forgiveness, as it is practiced in Buddhism, is ultimately a deep act of self-liberation. It is possible for humans to liberate themselves from the shackles of the past and open their hearts to more love, compassion, and joy when they let go of resentment and embrace forgiveness. Hatred does not cease by hatred. Love is the only thing that can halt it, the Buddha once stated. It is possible for individuals to break free from the cycle of suffering and build a life that is filled with peace and harmony by engaging in the practice of forgiveness. This is the eternal rule. What could possibly happen next? Stay tuned. We're about to reveal some unexpected gems that will captivate your imagination. Living with purpose is a concept that is central to Buddhism. It refers to the practice of actively guiding our thoughts, words, and actions toward what is truly important to us, along with our values and goals. It is about matching our daily choices with our larger purpose and vision for our life, as opposed to floating aimlessly or being led entirely by the circumstances that are external to us. One of the most important aspects of living with intention is acknowledging the transience of life and the value of each individual moment. Because Buddhists hold the belief that life is ephemeral and uncertain, they believe that it is necessary to make the most of each moment by living with a purpose and practicing mindfulness. Having a clear understanding of our values and priorities is an essential component of living with intention. In order to accomplish this, we must first consider the things that are actually important to us, the things that give our life meaning and fulfillment, and the goals that we have for our lives. We are able to make decisions that are in accordance with our most profound goals when we have a clearer understanding of our values. This ultimately results in a higher sense of fulfillment and meaning in our lives. In addition, living with intention requires us to establish objectives and intents that are congruent with our core beliefs and principles. We do not only respond to the events that occur in our lives or simply go through the motions of life. Rather, we actively pursue goals that are reflective of our core beliefs. In order to accomplish this, we may need to establish concrete and quantifiable objectives in a variety of aspects of our life, including our careers, our relationships, our health, and our personal growth. One further vital component of living with intention is the practice of mindfulness in the tasks that we do on a daily basis. Being fully present in the moment, aware of our thoughts, feelings, and actions, without passing judgment on them, is what we mean when we talk about practicing mindfulness. We are able to become more in tune with our intentions and make conscious decisions that are in accordance with our values and goals if we cultivate the practice of mindfulness. In order to live with intention, we must also accept responsibility for the decisions we make and the acts we take. We acknowledge that we are responsible for our life and give ourselves the ability to bring about positive change, rather than placing blame on external factors or on other people for our circumstances. An attitude of accountability and resilience must be developed in order to do this. It is necessary to acknowledge that we have the potential to control our own destinies by the choices we make and the actions we take. Additionally, cultivating thankfulness and appreciation for the presence of the present moment is an essential component of living with intention. We are able to learn to fully embrace and relish the richness of each moment, seeing the beauty and blessings that are all around us, rather than continuously striving for future goals or lingering on regrets from the past. When it comes to Buddhism, living with intention is living in a way that is intentional, deliberate, and as genuine as possible. It is about bringing our thoughts, words, and actions into alignment with our most profound values and goals, and it is about experiencing each moment with gratitude and mindfulness. Creating a life that is meaningful, rewarding, and in harmony with our actual selves is something that we are able to accomplish by living with intention. Because it is based on the Buddhist principles of compassion and connection, Generosity is considered to be one of the most important virtues. It refers to the act of giving without expecting anything in return, without any expectation of receiving something in return. The cultivation of positive traits such as joy, compassion, and kindness is seen as a potent method of fostering these qualities. Generosity in Buddhism is not restricted to the act of providing money goods. Rather, it covers all forms of giving, including the giving of one's time, attention, abilities, and even forgiveness and understanding. Through this method, one can open their heart and establish a profound connection with other people, overcoming the boundaries between themselves and other people. The significance of establishing a spirit of generosity and overcoming greed is a major teaching in Buddhism. This emphasis is one of the central teachings of Buddhism. The Buddha himself was an example of generosity, generously sharing his teachings, time, and resources to everyone who sought his instruction. He was a model of generosity. He frequently stressed the satisfaction and freedom that comes from giving, and he once said, "Generosity brings happiness at every stage of its expression." Curious to find out all the answers? Stick with us until the end. There are some captivating insights and surprises waiting just for you. Don't miss out on the journey. Developing a mindset that is committed to generosity and actively seeking out opportunities to offer are both essential components of the Buddhist practice of generosity. It is possible that this will involve acts of generosity and philanthropy, such as making donations to people who are in need, or volunteering for organizations that perform philanthropic work. On the other hand, generosity is not restricted to large-scale actions. Even modest acts of kindness and generosity can have a significant impact on the lives of others and offer happiness to both the one who gives and the person who receives them. As an additional point of interest, the cultivation of generosity in Buddhism requires conquering the challenges of attachment and selfishness. In order to accomplish this, one must let go of the perspective of scarcity and acknowledge the abundance that is present in the physical world. It is possible for individuals to break free from the cycle of wanting and unhappiness and enjoy a profound sense of fulfillment and contentment if they cultivate a spirit of generosity. Dana, which literally translates to giving, is a potent practice that Buddhists use to cultivate generosity among their followers. The practice of dana entails offering something freely and abundantly in order to support the community and the spiritual teachings. In Buddhist philosophy, it is seen as one of the most fundamental virtues, and it is regarded as a method for purifying the mind and nurturing traits that are associated with holiness. For Buddhists, fostering generosity also means cultivating gratitude and appreciation for the generosity of others via the practice of gratitude and appreciation. We are able to create a sense of humility and appreciation by acknowledging the acts of kindness and generosity that we have received from other people. This, in turn, drives us to be more compassionate toward other people. One of the most important aspects of fostering generosity in Buddhism is developing a heart that is compassionate and kind toward all beings, because it is a behavior that not only helps other people, but also offers happiness, contentment, and freedom to the person who is doing the giving. It is possible for individuals to nurture positive traits such as compassion, kindness, and joy through the cultivation of generosity, which in turn contributes to the creation of a world that is more compassionate and peaceful. Buddhism places a strong emphasis on the practice of self-reflection, which is vital for achieving personal development, gaining insight, and achieving freedom from suffering. It requires us to examine our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors with the intention of attaining a more profound understanding and wisdom. This is done with the intention of gazing inward, with honesty and awareness. The understanding of the transient and linked character of reality is at the core of the Buddhist practice of self-reflection for the Buddhist religion. Through the process of shifting our attention inward and witnessing the ever-changing nature of our thoughts, feelings, and experiences, we are able to come to an understanding of the fleeting and conditioned character of our existence. Having this realization helps to remove the grip that attachment and aversion have on one's life, which ultimately results in increased freedom and freedom from suffering. The cultivation of mindfulness, which is the practice of being completely present and aware of our thoughts, feelings, and body sensations without passing judgment on them, is an essential component of self-reflection in Buddhism. Through the practice of mindfulness, we are able to witness the fluctuations of our mind with clarity and objectivity, so obtaining insight into the conditions and causes that give rise to our ideas and feelings. In Buddhism, the cultivation of self-awareness is considered to be one of the most important benefits of engaging in self-reflection. By practicing mindfulness and paying attention to our thoughts, feelings, and actions, we can develop a greater awareness of the patterns and tendencies that are present in our minds. We are able to notice unwholesome behaviors and tendencies that may be causing pain, and we are also able to acquire more beneficial traits such as kindness, compassion, and wisdom as a result of this increased self-awareness. As part of the Buddhist practice of self-reflection, we are also required to examine our acts and intentions with honesty and integrity. In this context, it is important to consider the ethical repercussions of our acts, as well as the effects those activities have on both ourselves and other people. It is possible for us to acquire more awareness and integrity in our interactions with the world if we accept responsibility for our acts and the consequences which result from those actions. In addition, the practice of self-reflection in Buddhism involves contemplating the underlying nature of the self, as well as the illusion of separateness. When we investigate the nature of the self with mindfulness and insight, we arrive at the realization that the self is a fabrication of the mind and does not have any inherent reality. We are liberated from the egocentric worldview and given the opportunity to experience increased wisdom, compassion, and connectivity with all beings as a result of this realization that the self is empty, which leads to a significant shift in perspective. In conclusion, the cultivation of a spirit of self-compassion is an essential component of self-reflection in Buddhism. This is treating ourselves with kindness and gentleness via the process of analyzing our shortcomings, errors, and defects. Instead of harshly criticizing ourselves, we engage in the practice of forgiving and understanding ourselves, acknowledging that we are all still in the process of awakening and that we are all works in progress. By engaging in self-reflection, we are able to cultivate more understanding, knowledge, and compassion for ourselves, as well as for others, which ultimately results in increased levels of serenity, joy, and freedom from suffering. Without a doubt. As per your request, the following text has been written. Mindfulness allows us to witness the emergence and passing away of impatience and annoyance with clarity and objectivity, without allowing ourselves to be carried away by them. This allows us to observe sensations without placing judgment on them. Because of this focused awareness, we are able to create space between the stimulus and the response, which in turn enables us to respond to the problems that life presents with greater wisdom and competence. Buddhism places a significant emphasis on the cultivation of acceptance and non-attachment as an additional vital part of patience. Cultivation. The act of accepting things in their current state without adhering to wants or expectations regarding how things ought to be is an essential component of patience. We are able to liberate ourselves from the suffering that is brought on by craving and aversion, and we are able to find serenity in the face of the uncertainties that life brings about when we let go of our attachment to outcomes and preferences. In addition, the cultivation of patience in Buddhism requires one to acknowledge the interconnection of all beings and to cultivate compassion for other people. It is possible for us to cultivate empathy and compassion for other people, even when they may put our patience to the test, if we acknowledge that everyone is on their own journey, confronting their own problems and struggles. This awareness of connection contributes to the dissolution of barriers between the self and other people, which ultimately results in increased harmony and compassion in our interpersonal relationships. Meditation is a strong practice that is utilized in Buddhism for the purpose of increasing patience. Through the practice of meditation, we are able to acquire a sense of peace and patience in the midst of the hardships that life presents. Meditation provides a space for quiet contemplation and inner reflection. By engaging in meditation on a consistent basis, we can train our minds to maintain a stable and patient state, even when confronted with challenging circumstances. Within the Buddhist tradition, the cultivation of patience is a transforming practice that ultimately results in increased tranquility, clarity, and liberation. Through the cultivation of mindfulness, acceptance, and compassion, we can cultivate a profound feeling of inner calm and resilience, which will enable us to traverse the ups and downs of life with grace and wisdom. But before starting the video, be sure to smash the like button and subscribe to never miss out on any of our videos. The video is going to be amazing, so make sure you stick to the end. Now, let's get started. Putting aside one's ego is the seventh step. Buddhist teachings emphasize the significance of overcoming the illusion of a fixed and separate self, and one of the most important teachings is the concept of letting go of one's ego. The ego is considered to be the primary source of suffering in Buddhism because it is the driving force behind attachment and aversion. It was the teachings of the Buddha that the self is not a fixed and permanent thing, but rather a fabrication of the mind that is devoid of any intrinsic existence. When we let go of our connection to the self, we are able to break free from the vicious cycle of craving and aversion, allowing ourselves to experience genuine freedom and liberation. There are many advantages to letting rid of one's ego in Buddhism, but one of the most important ones is the cultivation of humility and openness. Ego frequently results in feelings of pride, arrogance, and self-importance, all of which serve to obstruct genuine connections and understanding with other people. We are able to create a sense of humility and openness by letting go of our egos, which enables us to connect with other people on a deeper level and to see beyond the confines of our own perspective. The Buddhist practice of letting go of one's ego also requires developing one's capacity for self-awareness and introspection. It is possible for us to become conscious of the ways in which our ego presents itself in our life if we examine our thoughts, feelings, and actions with mindfulness and honesty. Because of this self-awareness, we are able to recognize the effect of the ego and successfully let go of its hold, which ultimately results in increased clarity and understanding. To add insult to injury, the Buddhist practice of letting go of one's ego requires developing compassion and empathy for other people. We are able to cultivate empathy and understanding for other people, especially those who may question or threaten our sense of self, if we acknowledge the interconnectedness of all beings and the fact that we all experience suffering in the same way. Having this awareness of interconnection helps to break down barriers caused by ego, which in turn helps to cultivate better harmony and compassion in our interpersonal connections. Meditation is a strong practice in Buddhism that offers the opportunity to let rid of one's ego. We are able to watch the actions of the mind with clarity and objectivity when we meditate because it gives a space for peaceful contemplation and introspection within ourselves. It is possible for us to create a sense of detachment from the influence of the ego via the practice of meditation, which enables us to experience a more profound sense of serenity and release. One of the most transforming practices in Buddhism is letting go of one's ego, which ultimately results in more freedom compassion, and understanding. We are able to let go of our connection to the self and experience genuine liberation from suffering when we acknowledge the transient and interdependent character of all occurrences. The cultivation of a sense of humility and openness can be accomplished via the practices of mindfulness, self-awareness, and compassion. This will enable us to connect with others on a deeper level and to live our lives with a larger capacity for wisdom and compassion. The presence of a network of individuals who are supportive of us can make a significant difference in our lives. The act of discussing our challenges with close friends or family members can provide us with new insights, words of encouragement, and even, in some cases, potential answers. In a way, it is comparable to having a group of people who are constantly there to support us and cheer us on at every stage of the journey. It is essential that we maintain our flexibility and remain open to modifying our plans. There are times when we need to adjust our objectives in light of fresh information that we amass. Having the ability to navigate through unanticipated twists and turns in a fluid manner enables us to overcome difficulties in a manner that is analogous to a river flowing over rocks. Boosting our self-confidence and reinforcing our sense of accomplishment may be accomplished by celebrating every achievement, regardless of how minor it may be. When we are successful in overcoming a hurdle, it is a victory that should be celebrated. One could compare it to the act of collecting trophies, which serve as reminders of our trip and demonstrate our talents. Resilience and optimism are traits that can be learned via the process of enduring through hardship and discovering the positive aspects of challenging circumstances. It reveals that we are capable of overcoming challenges and turning them into chances for personal development so that we can develop further. It is about developing a mindset that is able to look on the bright side of things and will persevere in spite of obstacles. In order to overcome challenges with tenacity and a sharp eye for opportunities, we must have faith in both our trip and in ourselves. Acknowledging that humps in the road are an inevitable part of life, developing our capacity for resilience, gaining knowledge from each event, and maintaining a supportive and adaptable attitude are all components of this process. By taking this attitude, we are able to transform difficulties into stepping stones on the path to achieving our goals, demonstrating that if we are determined and maintain a positive outlook, we are capable of overcoming any problem and emerging victorious. Developing a mindset of lifelong learning is the seventh step toward achieving lifelong fulfillment. Keeping our minds open to new experiences increases the excitement and vibrancy in our lives, as well as enriches our lives overall. It is comparable to always having a door available to lead us into new adventures, which helps to keep our spirits young and our curiosity piqued. Through the process of lifelong learning, we are able to infuse our lives with depth and preserve a sense of energy regardless of our age. This is because lifelong learning is not only about acquiring knowledge, it is of the utmost importance to acknowledge that learning is a process that proceeds continuously and never stops. Beginning with our early years and continuing through the later phases of our lives, there is always something fresh waiting for us to unravel. When we adopt this frame of mind, we remain open to receiving new information and experiences, much like we would be if we were eternal explorers on an endless voyage searching for enlightenment. Learning becomes something we excitedly anticipate when we include it into our everyday routine, transforming it from an obligation to something we must do. Something as straightforward as devoting some time to reading, interacting with educational content, or trying out a new pastime could be considered an example. Our thoughts are kept active and engaged when we engage in learning on a consistent basis. Additionally, acquiring new abilities helps us feel more confident and enhances our self-esteem. Our capacity to overcome obstacles and develop is demonstrated by the fact that we are able to acquire new skills with each passing day. It is comparable to acquiring badges of honor, which serve as reminders of our achievements and the progress we have made in our personal formation. During this path of lifelong learning, the cultivation of curiosity is of the utmost importance. Because of this, we are compelled to inquire and look for solutions, which propels us farther into topics that pique our interest. It is through curiosity that we are able to discover and appreciate the secrets and marvels that the world has to offer. Curiosity functions as a magical key. Having a clear path and being able to go forward are both benefits that come from setting goals for what we want to learn. We are able to retain our attention and feel a feeling of success when we achieve these aims, whether it is acquiring a new language, developing our musical skills, or struggling with a hard subject. Establishing these targets helps us achieve these goals. By embracing cutting-edge learning approaches and tools, we can ensure that we are always up to date with the most recent technological breakthroughs. In this day and age of digital technology, there is an abundance of educational tools available to students. These resources include everything from virtual reality experiences to online courses. Keeping up with these many possibilities gives us the ability to personalize our educational experiences so that they are suitable for our own needs and preferences. The journey is made much more enjoyable when we are able to connect with people who have similar interests and who share our enthusiasm for learning. It is through these encounters that a sense of camaraderie and teamwork is fostered, whether it is through participation in online conversations, participation in seminars, or membership in certain groups. The experience is comparable to being a participant in a big global classroom in which everyone contributes to the collective knowledge and benefits from it. By discussing and reflecting on our experiences of learning, we are able to firmly establish the information in our minds. By reflecting on what we have learned, the value of that information to us, and the ways in which we may use it in our life, we are able to internalize the information on a more profound level. In order to strengthen our own comprehension, it is beneficial to teach others what we already know. It encourages us to organize our thoughts and explain concepts in a straightforward manner, which ultimately results in an improvement in our understanding of the subject matter. In addition, the act of imparting one's expertise is a commendable undertaking that facilitates the empowerment of others and the advancement of their development. Our excitement for acquiring new information is fueled by the acceptance of the concept that learning is a process that occurs continuously. In spite of the fact that we already possess a great deal of knowledge, there is always more to investigate, a novel concept to contemplate, or a new viewpoint to take into consideration. In addition to instilling in us a strong sense of thankfulness, this unending sense of inquiry helps to keep our educational journey exciting and ever-changing. Maintaining an open mind to unfamiliar concepts, welcoming new discoveries, and taking pleasure in the effort to acquire knowledge are all essential components of continuous learning. The result is that life is transformed into an ever-evolving adventure in which each day brings an opportunity to broaden our horizons and view the world from a fresh perspective. As a result of our unwavering commitment to this methodology, we guarantee that we are always progressing, that we maintain our intellectual acuity, and that we take pleasure in each and every step of our educational journey. Conscious spending and sound financial management come in at number 8. The ability to learn how to handle our money properly and to make purchasing selections after giving them some thought can considerably improve our emotional well-being and sense of calm. Creating a lifestyle that gives contentment because we are not burdened by superfluous goods or financial anxieties is not simply about reducing expenses. It is about creating a lifestyle that brings about contentment. A life that is both meaningful and secure may be built on a solid foundation, and adopting this careful approach to managing one's finances is comparable to doing so. First and foremost, it is of the utmost importance to have a complete comprehension of both our income and our expenditures. Maintaining a close check on the amount of water that is contained within a tank is analogous to monitoring our financial inflows and outflows. We need to be sure that we are not exhausting our resources beyond what we are able to afford. This practice assists us in avoiding debt, which can feel like bearing a heavy load that only becomes heavier over time. This practice helps us avoid paying off debt. The process of developing a budget is analogous to plotting a course for happiness in terms of money. We equip ourselves with a clear roadmap for achieving our financial goals by setting aside certain amounts of money for savings, essential needs, and discretionary spending. The discipline of adhering to a budget guarantees that we do not overspend on frivolous products that may offer happiness for a short period of time, but contribute to financial distress in the long run. Investing and saving money are two more essential components of sound financial management. A type of self-care that offers a sense of stability and peace of mind is the act of putting money aside for the future. To put it another way, it is like planting seeds that will later develop into trees of financial support. By setting aside sufficient funds and making appropriate investments, we are able to establish a buffer that safeguards us from unanticipated events. The establishment of an emergency fund allows us to protect ourselves from the unpredictability of life by ensuring that we have resources available in the event that we are confronted with unforeseen expenses or difficulties in our financial situation. One of the most important factors in determining one's financial well-being is the practice of mindful consumption. The practice of mindful consumerism requires taking some time to consider our wants and needs before making any purchases. It is about making a distinction between what we actually require and what we merely desire, and doing so in order to avoid making rash purchases that only add to the accumulation of clutter and the burden on our finances. By incorporating mindfulness into our consumption, we can be certain that the things we buy are in line with our core beliefs and our long-term objectives. In addition, developing a mindset that is characterized by thankfulness and satisfaction can significantly enhance our connection with monetary resources. When we are grateful, we are able to recognize and appreciate the resources that we currently possess, which lessens the desire to continually look for more. With contentment, we are able to discover enjoyment in the simplest of joys, rather than continuously pursuing the acquisition of worldly items. A transformation in thinking like this can lead to greater financial stability and a life that is more rewarding, free from the continual need to acquire more. Conscious consumerism and sound financial management are two of the most important habits that can assist us in establishing a strong foundation for our long-term well-being. We may create a life of financial serenity and stability for ourselves by practicing mindful consumption, living within our means, and managing our resources in a prudent manner. Utilizing these skills gives us the ability to make well-informed decisions that are in line with our core beliefs, alleviate stress, and lead to a more profound feeling of fulfillment. If these teachings resonated with you, be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it with a friend who could benefit from these lessons, and subscribe to our channel for more life-changing insights. Let's continue this journey of growth together. Thanks for watching. Until next time, stay mindful, stay compassionate, and let your inner strength shine.
Audio Jungle.